I mean, it's a battle. It's an assault. I mean, in a way, the strategy of photographing the Super Bowl is almost like getting ready for the battlefield. And then when you finally get down there to take your first picture, and there's a 90-yard bomb thrown on the first play, and you're even with the quarterback and gets thrown 90 yards downfield, and there's an official in your way and a couple players in your way, and you say, God, you know, why didn't I anticipate that? And at the end of the game, I was one of the designated people to go back to the lab. You just leave your gear and jump on the back of the motorcycle with the rest of the film and go back to lab, which was both exhilarating and exciting and somewhat dangerous.
Just as we were finishing, we called the airport just to make sure, and there was a snowstorm coming to New York, and the airlines told us that the plane was definitely taking off, but they couldn't guarantee we were going to land in New York. Airports were closing up and down the coast, and at that moment Teterboro was open, but we couldn't guarantee by the time we got there it would be open. And then he said, and the other thing is, if we couldn't make it on the first approach, we wouldn't have any fuel. And Heinz said, let's go for it, at which point I almost had heart failure.
The pressure is so intense. I mean, you know, everyone out there, you know, thinks you can sum it up. I mean, you'll have the perfect words, you know, and especially your peers on newspapers and stuff. Like as I was leaving tonight, somebody said, all right, Rick, you know, we expect to see the big picture Thursday, you know, when the magazine comes out. And I said, well, I have to have it done by 4 a.m. Where am I going to get the big picture?
If you're going to live the life on the road, you've got to pay some price for it and stay in some decent shape, because that ends up mentally more than physically. You just, at least you keep yourself at the point where it's not hard to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning if you have to write. It's not hard to keep going when you have to that push through the playoffs and World Series where you sort of work every day for 3 weeks.
When you live this job 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're always trying to come up with new ideas, new ways of doing things, and you talk to the people who work with you and for you 24 hours a day. 11 o'clock at night, you're on the phone with your baseball editor.
We're constantly asking people to dinner and stuff. And like I spent the night at P. Rose's house for a couple nights one night, you know, where I would have never been able to do that elsewhere. And you know, same with like Jack Nicholson. I mean, he was such a fan of the magazine that he let me into his house, and we played basketball together and stuff. I mean, you sort of work for weeks and weeks, so that maybe you're going to use the superstar basketball player's Gardner.
People were amazed, for example, that Larry Bird said the things to me that he did. He had never said those things before. It was clear that he had decided that if I'm going to reveal a few things about my life, I'm better doing it in Sports Illustrated.
You know, Demo and I sat there with Nick Thomas and Dan Jansen in the locker room. We were all by ourselves. And we're just trying to shoot the breeze with them and get on how they feel. And I mean, no one else was there.
There's a lot of time spent sitting on a dugout bench on hot afternoons in Kansas City in July, where people, you know, there's a manager, a coach, or a player, and his foot is up and he's telling a lot of stories. And there's a lot of Liz Smith in baseball players, as well as managers and writers. And so there's a lot of that that you live, and you have to enjoy that sort of thing. I mean, if I didn't enjoy all the little tidbits and gossip and knowing things about people, then I wouldn't really, then I probably would be out of place in this business.
As everything evolves, and culture evolves, and magazine design evolves, and journalism evolves, we don't want to just sort of evolve along with it. We want to be the people who sort of push the frontiers.
If you, for example, for the ski races, get on skis, go to the top of the men's downhill, you're going to find that you're going to eliminate about 95% of the photographers. Because first of all, a lot of them don't ski. Second of all, they don't want to fall down the mountain with their cameras. And thirdly, it's a lot of work.
I'll work all night. I'll work till 7 in the morning to try to get every cliche out of there and every phrase you've ever heard before. I mean, I'll go through it and comb through it 50 times until every phrase is out of there that you've heard before. Oscar Wilde said, never write anything that you've read before. So I try not to.
This idea of never stopping to make the magazine better, I mean, that's one of the things that I'm most impressed with, you know, being here, is that there's just people never rest on their laurels. It's sort of like being an athlete in that sense, too.
Obviously, it's the timeliness, the challenge, the late close capabilities, the dynamics when you find a big sporting event, you know you're going to handle it. It's just how are you going to handle it? Is Mark Mulvoy and his picture editor and his photographers, are they going to get that last picture, that great shot, that great catch, that great touchdown pass? If they do, is it going to be a good quality? Can you work with it? Can you make it even look better than the photographer caught? These are the challenges that are really exciting on this magazine.
It's amazing what people don't see. It's amazing that they don't see the bead of sweat coming down, or they don't see that his jacket was torn, or whatever. And yet people don't see that. They don't see the cat sitting in the background. And I think, not only myself, but I think an awful lot of Sports Illustrated writers have that facility. It adds the dimension to the story. If
you do anything with a photograph, I think it would be nice to convey a certain feeling to the person looking at it. Feel like they've been there, or feel like what it's like to have been the person that's in the picture.
People rarely write you on radio and television, because if you say something, even if you say something like, I'm a cannibal and I ate 4 people last night for dinner, it was delicious. You say that on television or radio, boom, it washes by, and all of a sudden you got the weather report, and you say, what did he say, what did he say, what, did he say he was a cannibal? My, that's awful, but boom, it's gone, and some other vision is there. The other image replaces you. When you write something in a newspaper or a magazine, it's there, and it glares out at you, and if you don't like it, it sears the paper, and if you do like it, it just sort of twinkles there with little dust all over it, stardust all over it, and people sit down and they write you a letter.
I read every letter. That we get somewhere between 500 and 1,000 letters, I'd say, a week. I read every one of them because I like to know what the people are thinking. That's part of my required reading on my Tuesdays. And I sit down every Tuesday and read all the letters that come in because I want to know what the readers think about us and what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. And it's amazing how you get, several weeks ago, a reader wrote in saying, he said, he thought that we were getting too punny in the magazine, too many puns. And, you know, when you're editing stories, you edit one story and then a day later or 2 days later you get another story. And you might see a pun and say, oh, that's all right. Well, suddenly, sure enough, in one particular magazine, we did have too many puns.
Yeah, sometimes I sit on an airplane and there's a person ahead of me looking at the magazine. And so he's just paging through it, and I see how he stops. I'm sort of curious, why is this guy stopping there? You know, and that's the person I'm shooting for. Somebody who's looking at the magazine, first of all, and I mean, we have great writers, and that's one of our fortes. But sometimes I like to think that they're going to read that story because they saw the picture and say, God, I want to know what happened here.
Welcome to the very best of the Football Follies, presented by Sports Illustrated. If you have any questions about your subscription, simply call our customer service hotline at 1-800-541-1000 or write to Sports Illustrated, P.O. Box 60001, Tampa, Florida 33660-0001. Please include your magazine address label with any correspondence. Thank you.
For the giants of the gridiron, Sunday is a solemn occasion with no time for comedy. They believe that pro football is not a laughing matter. NFL Films believes otherwise.
Richard, what are you doing?
What they're doing is adding a few sour notes to a sport that's usually played with classical precision. They're also proving that while football is a game of blood and thunder, it is also a game of thud and blunder. For 20 years, NFL Films has presented the human drama of pro football, but it has also captured the human folly. It's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. NFL Films has produced 5 screen classics that have highlighted the lowlights of pro football. Now, together again for the first time, we present a collection of the best and most bizarre business from those 5 fabulous Follies films, plus some brand new bloopers from our fantastic file of foul-ups. It's all in one big explosive package.
Hi, I'm Steve Sable of NFL Films, and once again, we're delighted to team up with Sports Illustrated to bring you the state-of-the-art in football foul-ups, bleeps, and blunders. Now, this tape marks a significant milestone in the annals of football films, for it was just about 20 years ago that we rolled out our very first collection of bloopers. Now, 2 decades and 8 films later, the genre, if you could call it that, is stronger than ever. In fact, it spawned its share of imitators in all the other major sports, as well as an entire series of blooper shows on television. This program, the very best of the football follies, is exactly that. We've prepared exclusively for you, the Sports Illustrated reader, a collector's edition of some of our favorite segments from the classic Follies movies of the past. So settle back in your favorite chair and get ready to enjoy some of the funniest, wittiest, and strangest highlights of the last 20 years of NFL Films football follies.
Something evil is lurking out there. Something to make you feel the cold breath of horror on the back of your neck. Something to chill your spine. It is stalking the stadiums, seeking out victims to satisfy its unquenchable thirst for blood. And heaven help those who gaze at the thing that rained hell on opening day. On opening day, you'll experience creeping terror when a depraved, malignant force takes possession of Sunday's heroes and transforms them into predatory fiends. Their prey are the men who wear the black and white stripes. At first, the officials are taunted. The refs try to fight back. But these beasts crave human flesh. You screamed on Halloween. You shrieked on Friday the 13th. Now prepare to gag on opening day. This motion picture contains scenes that may be too intense for young people. Deep in the valleys of the seething, sultry old Southwest, where danger dwells, an unforgettable Western adventure is born. First, there was the Magnificent Seven. Now, there is the mediocre 11. Here is a sprawling saga of itchy trigger fingers, hot lead, and a cool, silent shootist called Butch. Relive the days when peril loomed over every horizon. See savages and settlers engage in the life and death struggle that helped bring civilization to the wild and woolly frontier. Join the stampede to see the Western epic that leaves the others in the dust. NFL Films challenges you to solve the mystery that baffled Scotland Yard. The stomach-churning suspense begins with a phone call.
Is that our phone? Is that us? Hello, Danny?
Yes, I would like a large pizza with everything on it but anchovies. You got that? Hold the anchovies.
Dial M for moron. puts you on the lookout for the crime wave that blows the lid off the NFL. Hold onto your hats as helmets disappear. Grab onto your socks as cleats vanish. Not even jerseys are safe in this searing drama of a half-naked city paralyzed by fear. And when the pigskin starts popping loose, so will your eyes. Whodunit? You won't know until the final fade out. And theater owners have been asked not to admit anyone during the last 15 minutes. This is the film that takes you behind today's hottest headlines. See how undercover informants provide police with the tips that lead to the biggest dragnet in FBI history. So when the phone rings, get ready for a heart-pounding motion picture experience.
NFL Films proudly presents the picture with happy feet. It's a singing, dancing, musical extravaganza. It's Top Helmet, the tap-filled, tune-filled treat that will have you leaving the theater humming songs like these.
I got a feeling Buffalo is going to the Super Bowl. This is not the last time, but Buffalo is going to the Super Bowl.
The Steelers are so great, and they play the best of all to take our Pittsburgh to the Super Bowl.
At long last, here comes a high-stepping spectacle to bring the sound of music back into your life. Isn't it time you felt good again? Isn't it time for Top Helmet?
You know, part of the appeal of the NFL Follies over the years has been seeing some of the greatest players pull off some of the greatest bloopers. It gives all of us armchair quarterback satisfaction to see these athletic supermen show a less than perfect side. But, you know, not all players have ideal proportions. Some are, to be charitable, a little overweight. Let's face it, they're fat. Ridiculed at weigh-ins, but welcomed at local restaurants, these round mounds of pounds may have looked funny in pads, but many of these fatties more than pulled their own weight on the football field.
You know, some football people actually believe the truly wide are truly wonderful.
I'd like to have a good fat player rather than a slim poor player. You know, the body, the build doesn't make any difference. It's what they do on the football field.
Ah, yes. For many of these pudgy pros, the mind is willing, but the beefy body isn't quite able. Yet long after their legs have given out, their stomachs are raring to go.
Some of them have what we call voracious appetites, and the pounds pile up.
If ever there were a guru of gluttony, it was Coach Abe Gibran, a true connoisseur of high-calorie cuisine.
I would go to Gennadi's out in the west side, and he would cater to a special deal. He would roast a baby lamb, or would have a fish sent in from Oregon or something, and he'd make it, and he'd have 15 or 20 different Italian side dishes to go with it, and we'd go 10 or 12 people and eat for 4, 5, 6 hours, and we'd order a case of white and a case of red wine.
Always eat to win. You gotta have Tommy burgers and chili dogs and all that nasty, no good, high carbohydrate stuff that when you take your blood test, they say, my God, this guy's gonna die, look at this cholesterol level. I don't mind eating hamburgers and stuff instead of fish and chicken and Brussels sprouts and stuff like that. I'm eating Kansas food. I'm eating red meat and potatoes and stuff that makes men.
Football's terrific tummies date back to the 1920s, and the likes of Canton Bulldogs Hall of Fame tackle Wilbur Fats Henry.
You know, one time there were a lot of great fat players in the National Football League. You know, you go back to Les Bingaman.
A five-time All-Pro in the 1950s, Lions middle guard Les Bingaman was the most spacious sedan in the Motor City.
His weight would range between 350 pounds and 400 pounds. I remember the time they loaded Les in a car and they went down to the train station and put him on a freight scale. They had to weigh him on a freight scale in order to find out that he weighed 355 pounds.
More fatties followed, in the form of the Jets' 320-pound Sherman Plunkett. And 20 years later, in William the Refrigerator Perry, who showed that the rotund could be all the rage on the football field.
There are a lot of people with extraordinary abilities and talents that can play overweight. There was a fellow named Pete Johnson that played at fullback at 270, 280 pounds, whatever he was, but because he was such a tremendous athlete, he survived it.
My first reaction to Pete Johnson when I first came to Cincinnati, I couldn't figure out whether he was a tank or a refrigerator on wheels. He was certainly heavy.
He probably had the biggest rear end I've ever seen. His thighs were as big as some people's bodies were. And he was just one large human being.
Yeah, Pete Johnson is just, what a load. You go against running backs like that who are really, they're dressed up in a running back's uniform, but they're linemen. Someone like that can really do some damage to you and give you some very severe headaches.
While he packed the knockout blow of Mike Tyson on the football field, the burly runner could just as easily become Michael Jordan on the basketball court.
We were in Wilmington College in preseason camp, and I challenged him to a dunking contest, and the guy can dunk any way you want it. It's incredible. It's like seeing a building in the air.
Pete Johnson rumbled through 8 NFL seasons, gaining more than 1,000 yards, rushing for the Bengals' 1981 Super Bowl team. Still, players with a fleshy physique aren't always accepted in the NFL.
I don't tolerate excessive weight unless I absolutely have to, and unless the person that has this excessive weight can't get down and he can perform.
One could call plump players like Curtis Rouse and Bill Bain solid performers, as well as a few other names.
They call you a sack of laundry, you got a body like that or not. I don't care, because this sack of laundry or a fat guy or whatever you want to call me is going to knock you on your butt, and I'm going to wear you down. I'm going to make you look bad.
A big boxcar run over a little one. And, you know, the guy that weighs 360 and in great shape will dominate a guy that weighs 260 and is in great shape.
I've seen guys with great godlike bodies that were the biggest chickens in the world. Yeah, I've seen big old fat guys that just want to maul you to death. We're not beautiful people, but we get the job done just by, our elephantine bodies leaning on them.
Yes, there is a place for flabby flesh in football. So eat up, America. It's pasta over push-ups, calories over calisthenics. And rest easy, knowing that both on and off the gridiron, girth can be great.
Fridays at 8, it's That's Incredibly Stupid, the show where anything can happen. If you love mindless mayhem, then you've come to the right place. It's a chance to see your favorite stars pull off their zaniest stunts. Take a bunch of guys, give them something dumb to do, and watch the fun begin. Your heroes compete for valuable prizes, letting nothing stand in their way. It's a show with luck, laughs, and larceny.
It'll have you and all your friends puzzled and perplexed, bewitched and bewildered, and, oh yes, howling with laughter too. It's the program that'll leave you stunned. So for incredible thrills, incredible laughs, incredible gaffes, there's really only one show for you. Join us each week for That's Incredibly Stupid.
The proud foot belongs to the kicker, whose only concern when kicking is that his mates know who to block.
I got 50. I got 76.
No,
Joe,
I
you
got
got
him.
45? Who's got 30?
I got 45.
I got him. I got that guy.
Okay, all set? Hey, who's got 45? I thought you had 45.
I've got 57.
Who's got 48?
I got 48.
I got 88. Time out. In kicking, the center snap is crucial. And now, pay attention. The ally of every kicker is his sure-handed holder. If something goes wrong, the kicker has some options. Pay attention, boy. There's the double trick kick, run, and kick real quick stick, or there's the popular strawberry short kick. Pay attention, boy. When it comes to kicking, we punters display an affinity for ballet with our fluid movements that sing of gracefulness. It's up to the punter to save his team from bad field position.
Down through the years, kickers, and players at every other position for that matter, have been the unwitting victims in our Follies films. Two of the greatest causes of their embarrassment have been bad weather and the stadium surroundings themselves.
And the Lord said, let there be let there be rain. And lo and behold, rain came pouring down, turning all into a quagmire, and making a real mess of things. And the player said, Lord, we're we're pretty darn sad. And the Lord said, get thee a rug. And the players did, but when they saw what they had wrought, they said, Lord, we're they're still pretty darn sad. So finally the Lord said, get thee under the domes costing millions of dollars. And the taxpayers said, Lord, we sure are Lord, we've sure been given a big enough place to take a bath.
Besides bad weather, fan and player alike are surrounded by constant dangers lurking in NFL stadiums. Fear of such collisions has frightened many a player. In fact, some have never been heard from again. And there are perils aplenty for halftime performers as well.
Oh boy, puro. Oh, hurts. Oh, unsa ko na karwachi. Oh, so
There was a time not so long ago that when a player scored a touchdown, he would shake, rattle and roll, twist and shout, do the mashed potato, the frug, the pony, and plenty of dances they still don't even have names for. But this showboating took so much time that it just had to be toned down. Today, you might see a glimpse of it every now and then, but the truth is that the heyday of spikedom is over. However, thanks to the NFL Films archives, we can relive some of the finest moments of post-touchdown pyrotechnics in this classic celebration of Spikes Supreme.
Good morning, class. This course is Post-Touchdown Protocol. Today we shall examine the various techniques available to you after a tally in football. I'm going to show you a film which will document background and illustrate examples. Watch closely as there will be a quiz immediately following. Our forefathers played in more innocent times, and their methodology was somewhat modest. In the 60s, there were those who used this mode of expression, but it was eventually prohibited due to expense. Observe now some of the styles currently being utilized. This is the basic primordial protoploic spike. Note how the subject exalts the spectators, then plants his right foot squarely, and voila. Variations to this basic maneuver include the pericritical goalpost descent, the Las Vegas dice roll. Snake eyes are preferable but not mandatory. This ending is known as the Three Musketeer collocation. For those musically inclined, there is the fundamental symphonic sonata. We don't have a name for this one yet, but it's preferred you not use it before mixed audiences. Some choreographics currently popular include the Balkan saber dance strut, the Tonawanda two-step, the effervescent reciprocal salutation, the pelvic promenade, and William Johnson's novel discovery, the White Shoes Quadrille Zarabanda. Now, this is strictly for those who are more advanced and should not be attempted by beginners. In each illustration, receivers alone were involved, but this is just as important to linemen. You too must be familiar with these footfalls. Incidents like this are happening all the time. The lineman must be prepared to exercise appropriate actions when called upon. This buffoon has absolutely no idea what to do here, a glaring embarrassment to his compatriots. Finally, the golden rules of post-touchdown protocol. There is to be no fraternization with end zone occupants during the course of a contest. This is the kind of behavior that gives us a bad name. Be absolutely certain you have crossed the goal line before you initiate activity. And above all, gentlemen, this is a graceful art. Dignity. Always dignity.
Do you have radioactive breath? The kind where folks give you a nuclear reaction? When you take a breath, do coworkers wish it was your last? If your mouth is a garlic flamethrower that burns the eyes of guests, causes wildlife to migrate far away, and levels superstructures, then why not give antiseptic turf mints a try?
Turf mints is a candy mint. No, it's a breath mint. It's a candy mint. It's a breath mint.
Wait, you're both right.
Pop in a Turf Mint and get fresh breath in seconds. Turf Mints. Buy them by the case.
NFL Films was born long after the sunset on Hollywood's golden era, but we've always held a nostalgic affection for the good old days of movie making, and I sometimes wonder what it would have been like if NFL Films had gotten a chance to produce, let's say, a silent slapstick movie or one of those old-fashioned newsreels. I imagine they would have looked something like this.
Now for all the late-breaking stories, here's the Believe It or Else Newswire. Believe it or else, shocking as it may seem, today's athlete may not be in shape. Results from the recently released Braunschweiger report indicate subdued players with a more laid-back style. Big salaries may be swelling a few heads. Some players demand adulation for doing almost nothing.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
And still others insist on chauffeured limo service to and from the locker room. Such data disturbed most NFL coaches, and so a bold and innovative fitness program was introduced around the league.
That's smart.
The program applied principles from the world's foremost therapists. Modern dance fundamentals were also incorporated.
And step and turn and step and point your toes, Kevin. Arch your back.
The program also provided assistance for those who appeared troubled or confused. Some of the more unusual cases included an advanced state of schizophrenia, One man continued to play football even though the game had been over for 3 hours. Such problems were dealt with by enlisting the aid of counselors who listened attentively to each player. Finally, the effects of this daring approach began to materialize. Awfully decent of you, old chap. No one seemed particularly pleased with the results. Undaunted, the players are now trying a new training method they feel certain will work.
When Shakespeare wrote that all the world is a stage, he obviously wasn't thinking about the NFL. But when a stadium is filled with 80,000 screaming fans, we've discovered that more than a few head coaches become natural performers. We've put wireless microphones on some of the men who call the shots from the sidelines, and our next segment demonstrates that when the stadium clock starts ticking on game day, the effect can be something like the curtain going up on the stage show at the Improv or the Comedy Store.
Game day in the NFL.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog, Huff.
For every man who has ever coached, these next few hours of suffering and celebration are what make life worth living.
Joy to the world. Joy.
All right, everybody sit down. Now, let's everybody sit down. Stay up here with me, Louie. Back up, fellas. Back it up, please, so we can see. Is there any way that we can get these people to sit down?
Hey, stay here and make it look like we know what the hell we're doing. Watch the screen! Watch reverse, son!
Watch a fake! Peters! Nelson! Watch a fake! Watch a fake! Watch a pass! Watch a pass! Watch the play action pass! Watch a fake!
Pass!
Screen!
Flea flicker!
Watch a dog!
Watch everything!
High formation! High formation! Quick 141. High formation, quick 141.
94, fullback banana, hot right.
Brown left wide nasty, 16 lead pass, post flag with us to Gloucester. Brown left wide nasty.
We might as well run it. Yep. Let's run the Bummerooski. Huh? Run the Bummerooski. Bummerooski. Hey, tight line. What we got to run, I'm telling you, it sounds crazy, is an 888. Deep down the middle and hope we get a pass interference, don't you think?
Would you please ask these people to stand back?
Everybody. Douglas! Douglas!
Get up
Beckman,
there,
Beckman, Beckman! No, not Jimbo, Beckman! Beckman! Get up there and make him kick it again. Or maybe it's on us. Maybe it's on us.
Boy, the gears in that guy's mind didn't mesh for a long time, I'll tell you that.
Get him out of there because he has no hands.
Boy, you know on that 39, you did a poor job. Daggone it, you can't do that. Hell, you're in your home state.
No good at all. We want that up straight in the air. What the hell? We getting anybody can kick it out of bounds. I don't want you up there running around faking blitzes and getting out of position. You understand? Yes, sir. You line up where you're supposed to line up. None of that Harry High School, fake this. Do what we're told. Hell, you got to tell these guys what to do every minute of the day.
This is unbelievable. If I don't get them down, I will cut them, baby, so they'll be down.
Hey, line, we're going to have to start doing something now. We're going to have to start doing something. The defense is not going to do it, so we're going to have to start.
What the hell's the matter with you guys? Be alert!
I'll tell you what you better do. I can watch you. You walk around out there with your finger up your and you ain't hitting a damn soul. The name of the game, man, is hit.
Come on, defense! Stop somebody once!
I'll guarantee you next week you'll stay back because every guy up here is going to cost $500.
You all right, Butch? Coach! Butch, are you okay? Butch! Coach!
Drop! Drop, dummy! Drop! My daughter could do better! My daughter could... You're taking...
And the next time everybody is sitting on a bench or out on every to Green Bay.
I knew we weren't ready to play football today.
I knew we weren't ready to play.
Hey, pick up! Pick up! Pick up! Pick up! Pick up right there! Pick up! You picked him up!
Oh, he pulled his arm! Oh, he pulled his arm! He pulled him!
Anywhere on the field to play.
That's not a chicken It is a chicken call.
Do you see the offensive tackle? He literally tackled the strong safety. He tackled him, for crying out loud. Open your eyes. I can't believe that.
Mr. Official, let me ask you something. How can 6 of you miss a play like that, huh? All 6 of you. The ball jumped out of there as soon as we made contact, and nobody...
I thought you were talking about you being on the field.
No. What?
Hey, can I tell you one thing? That's 3 holding penalties on 1 football team in a quarter and a half. That ain't funny.
First down by 2 feet. 2 feet. He's got it easy. He's got it easy.
I can't see.
Oh, the thing is way over here. He's got it by 2 feet.
You did good. You did good. You marked it good.
Stretch it out. Stretch it out.
No, he's all right. First down. That's good. You marked it good. You marked it good. You did a hell of a job. Nice going. Great job. You marked it good.
Now, see how your eyes
A
were?
foot.
You said 2 feet. All right, well, what's the difference between 8 inches and 2 feet? 8 inches.
Went to college with that official.
What's that? Yeah,
I did. I went to college with her. Hey, Airman! Hey, you over-officious jerk!
If they substitute people in, they've got to stay in. They cannot go back out. They've got to be in for 1 play. Even I know that.
Now, you can't do that. If you do it, I'm telling you, you're going to have more hell over it than a little bit.
Oh, there's a clip! Damn, there's a clip! What the hell's wrong with you, 76? Call a clip! You guys are horse out there!
I'll tell you, you think that you've given these a little bit of an advantage now? How about turning it around? Go.
Ah, that is a crack!
They're killing me, Whitey. They're killing me.
If you think for 1 damn minute I'm going to take a loss standing down, you just have another thought coming.
Mouth at 20, you couldn't cover me.
Come on, baby. 1 time. 1 time. 1 time, baby. 1 time. 1 time.
Come on, boy! Take it! Come on, boy! Take it! Take it! Come on, turn the car! Turn the car! Turn the car! Turn the car!
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
And it belongs to his father, who has quite honestly struggled for a few years, made the move here.
Having a hard time getting started each day? Falling asleep during important business meetings? Have you lost the old pep in your step? When your friends are counting on you, do you seem to come up short? If you're tired of being dead in bed and boring and snoring, what you need are new Gridiron vitamins. Gridiron. Each tasty, chewable tablet is loaded with the iron and vitamins you need to put the fight back in your life again. You'll bounce happily out the door each morning, and at work, nothing will hold you back. You'll leap at the chance for new opportunities and feel like a feisty teenager once more. So why feel drowsy and lousy when you can get that old bark and spark back with Gridiron? Pick up Gridiron and pick up your life. On sale now at Mel's.
The basic formula for our Follies films is fairly simple. Take plenty of pratfalls and funny faces, then put them to script and music. But at the risk of sounding somewhat snobbish, we've also attempted to add a touch of class and culture to our basic formula. I'm about to attend a command performance of 2 classics of football film comedy, The Headcracker Suite and The High Mom Opera. It's Bach, Brahms, Beethoven, and bloopers.
felicità. Hi, Mom. Number one, number one, number one. La, presto bottega che la vita. Hi, Mom. Number one, one. È fortunatissimo per verità. La 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 la, la 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 la. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mama. Hi, Mom. Abro Figaro, bravissimo. Abro Figaro, bravissimo. Adi fortuna te, fortuna, non mancherà. Hi, Mom.